Andy, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thanks, William. How are you?
Good, good. Listen, TT Tui Maga. Um, what are we getting here? 28-year-old Samoan capped, loose head prop. So, what can we expect, and when's he arriving?
Well, he'll arrive when his visa comes, so hopefully that's, I'd suggest hopefully within the next 5 weeks. We won't get him before the end of this block, but we'd like to get him before the start of the next block, but that's all dependent now on his visa. But listen, I think it's a really good signing for us. As you said, they're 28 years of age, can play loose head, can also play tight head, has played on the other side, has international experience, has a lot of experience in NPC with Manawatu. Very physical boy. Listen, the scrummaging was the most important thing, but he actually can carry. He can fit into our game style, which was really important for us as well. He can carry, he can defend, and he can be fast, so and relentless. So that's and adaptable. So that's good.
Well, they all worked on Friday evening. Looking back on the game, that was a decent performance.
Yeah, it was a pleasing performance, William. I know we say it as coaches, but we always say we can be better. But we were disappointed with our pre-season bits of it. Certainly the losses, and we were disappointed that we didn't seize the opportunity against Cardiff. But I suppose the thing that was most pleasing against the Bulls was, we're down by 7 points after 2.5 minutes. We didn't lose our head. We stuck to the system. We stuck to the game plan that had been put in place, and I thought it was a performance built upon really solid defence. I thought the defence was outstanding. Cully Tucker, as our defence coach, asked for an emotional response in defence, and we certainly got that. We knew they were bigger men, but we knew if we could bring our own set of physicality to that we'd be able to stop their momentum going forward. And then we just looked to try and play through them with our fast speed. So, you finish that game to have a 34 points to 7 win against the Bulls was very pleasing. For us, just to get the win was great. So we were happy with that. And, we certainly enjoyed it that night, but it means nothing if we don't back it up on Saturday.
Yeah, one stat stood out for me. Abraham Papali'i, 52 meters on 12 carries. So that's about 4.5 meters a carry. Any regrets now that he wasn't used in Cardiff, because ball carrying there was an issue, and by getting on the front foot, you were able to get particularly Jack Carty was able to get the back line moving.
Yeah, he was one of our big carries. We had some other big carries too. If you go through it, we had ones that stand out. Mac Hansen, 10 defenders beaten. Tom Daly, Tom Farrell, plenty of defenders beaten in the forward pack. Jared Butler, Oshin Dowling, Finlay Beerlam, Geordie Duggan, they all made yards when they carried. So I feel like, Abe certainly does that for us, which is good. But there are other players on the field at the moment, Prendergast, that can do that for us as well. So, no, listen, we selected the team we selected for Cardiff. I said we put ourselves in a position to win that game. We just weren't good enough on the night to win it. So I didn't think it came down to selection thing.
And looking ahead now to the Dragons, they were very dogged against Leinster, who kind of lost their shape, I think, because they just got fed up with the conditions and the way they were playing. Is it a similar plan to use your physicality to get moving, and then the speed to get the ball out wide if you've got somebody like Hansen available, or the two centres running at them?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a different team. They have a very good back row, as we know. They've got a very solid forward pack, but they play very much a territory game. So the kicking duel, staying in the kicking game, is going to be really important to us. Sam Davies is a major weapon of theirs. So we'll have a focus on him, trying to nullify both what he's trying to do in attack, and also to potentially have a look at how well he tackles in defence. So we know they're a side itching for a win. They ran Leinster close, as we all saw. I know they've talked about not beating an Irish province for the last few years, so they'll be targeting us, which is fine. We've got to be more about our game. It will be based on our ability to continue to get line speed and double bangs, we call them, and in attack, making sure that we keep that relentless nature and the fast nature about our game and play through them.
Just looking at the defence again against the Bulls, the scramble defence seemed to be really sharp, but Connacht worked really hard in that game. They just did. Everybody seemed to understand their role, and they worked, particularly at that half time when you stopped them scoring before half time and got the turnover penalty. Is that part of the new influence from Collie Tucker, and also the work that Deval Senecal is doing among the forwards? They're doing the hard work in there.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, William. I think certainly some of the language that Cully uses around our defence energises the players, and there was a real energy and passion around that. You could see it on Friday night. I think certainly the stuff that Deval's done around the pack with our maul defence and our scrum defence, that was seen on Friday night, which was also, I thought, a real positive against a really physical side. And I think the other thing that was seen on Friday night was, we had a really tough pre-season where we worked the boys really hard in terms of their physicality and their strength. So that came out 41 and a half minutes of ball in play time, and our blokes were still going at the end. Like, I suppose the thing that pleased me the most, we'd had a lot of ball in play at the 80th minute. We've already got 29 points to 7. We've got our bonus point, but they wanted to keep playing, and they still had running in their legs to keep playing. So we had the scrum, and we could have easily pulled the ball out and kicked it off, but they had another attempted launch at them, and the next thing, Tom Daly scoring in the left corner, and we take the score to 34 points. So I just love their energy around that, and to me it just showed that the hard work that's been going on in the pre-season has certainly paid off for us.
And finally, just to quickly look at a couple of, we'll get an injury update, but two players. Kieran Marmion looked a little bit banged up at the end. How's he? And Cian Prendergast, when he came off, maybe he just was cramping. He just looked as if he'd given everything he had. Are they both available for selection for Saturday?
Yeah, they will be. They will be.
Good stuff. Thanks, Andy. We'll talk again soon. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, William.
Andy, how you doing? It's John here. Just want to ask you about comments made by Jake White on Saturday. Paraphrase that he basically said Connacht were made up of players who couldn't get contracts in Leinster, or players who came trying to play well to impress, to just get a contract with what he described a big club. How do you deal with that disrespect as a squad? And it's probably not an isolated one either, is it?
No, it's not isolated, John. Unfortunately, I think people look at Connacht down the end of their nose and don't really pay us too much respect, which we need to change, and we're aware of that. I just thought Jake's comments were really informed, to be honest with you. Yes, we have Leinster players, as does every team in the country. You check out Ulster, Munster, they've got Leinster players too, because that's where the bulk of the population is in Ireland. It's in Dublin, so you can only fit a certain amount of players into their squad. So there is going to be a transition of players to other squads. But we really pride ourselves on our homegrown players, of which we had Dave Heffern and Jack Carty, Tiernan O'Halloran all starting on the weekend. We had Matt Burke and Caelan Blade coming off the bench. So in the 23, we had 3 of our own homegrown, and then a lot of other players who've come through our academy. So they may have originated in Leinster, but they come down to our academy and they work really hard with the likes of Eric Earlwood and at the moment Mark Sexton and Andrew Brown, but also Cully Tucker and Mossy Lawler, who've been through that program. So yeah, I just thought it was an ill-informed comment. It didn't. I think it bode well for him. We're proud of what we're doing here. There is opportunity for people to come down here, but it's certainly not seen as I don't think it should be seen as a B grade option for players. It's another professional outfit, and I suppose by the end of the year we'll be able to tell you where we sit in that pecking order of 1 to 4.
Yeah, and just the other thing, Dragons, as we saw on Sunday, should have beaten Leinster in one sense, but yet never looked like doing it. Very hard one I'd say, to assess in advance. What do you expect from them?
Well, they're a tough outfit. I actually think Dean Ryan's been building a good squad there over the last few years since he's been there. They've recruited well. They are a good team. If you let them play their style of football, and their style of rugby is kicking meters, but if you give them space, they'll run as well. So there's actually a fair bit to their game. We need to respect that, and we will respect it. It's for us we have a game plan on how we think we can nullify their strengths and attack some of their weaknesses. But we're going to need to be on our best game in order to win that. So, the big thing for us, John, as you no doubt be aware, we've been poor at putting a good performance and then backing it up. So that's really important that we do this weekend, just to confirm in our own minds that we're on the right track with everything we're doing, but also to give our fans and supporters something to cheer about.
Cheers, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy, Dave Finn here. One quick question. You said there that you were very impressed by how much ball time was in play last week. It was 41 minutes, and how fit your guys were. I'm just wondering, have you made any tweaks to training a la kind of as Harlequins did last season, in that you've maintained the intensity of training, but maybe tweaked it in such a way that there's less sort of impact and less wear and tear during the week, so the guys can go for those extra minutes when the ball's in play that you're pushing for with the new mindset? Yeah,
there's been a lot of tweaks to our training actually, and I'll single out two men here, but Johnny O'Connor in our athletic performance department and Pete Wilkins as our senior coach. They spent a lot of time looking at the data and looking at what we're doing with our training to make sure that we're getting a level of intensity that when we're training it's above game pace, and we're building anaerobic and aerobic capacity amongst the players. But on top of that, we're also making sure that we don't cook the players. We actually, in the London Irish trial, we tried something on the Tuesday which showed us that we cooked our players. We cooked them by the Friday night. So we learnt the lesson. That's why you have trials. That's not the reason we lost the game. There was a lot of reasons we lost the game, but that was a reason that we realised we shouldn't be, or we can't do that if we want to win games of football, because we just put too much into players during the week. So I feel like we're at a good space with that, but there's a lot of work going on into the detail of how hard we're working, what it is we're working on during the week. And certainly Johnny and Peter are on top of all of that.
And just one thing, I suppose what was a slight negative was there was a lot of block kicks in the first half on Friday night. I'm just does that concern you, given the pressure that we saw the Dragons back row put on Leinster on Sunday? Was that sorted by the guys on the pitch, or was that something the coaches took a look at and said at halftime, because there were no block kicks in the second half?
There's a bit of both. There was, certainly on the football field, there was the kickers had to give themselves a bit more time. They were probably a bit too flat when they're trying to take those kicks, or taking an extra step, which brings the defence onto you, probably by another 5 metres. So that was sorted out by the kickers. The thing that us as a group of coaches talked about was the players in front, our shield in front, to make sure that they're more active. So we probably didn't give the kickers the support they needed early on. We got better, as you said, as the game went on, but you now know what's coming from the Dragons on Saturday.
Okay. Good luck on Saturday, Andy.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Steve.
Thanks, Dave. We'll go into embargoed section then for tomorrow morning.
Hi, Andy. How are things?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. Just on the Jake White stuff, is that water off a duck's back for you and the coaching staff, for the squad, or does it hurt? Do you just ignore it? Well, what's been the sense since you heard the comments?
It's not water off a duck's back, because it happens too much, in my view. So it's just another comment that you store and you go, right, well, that's what people think. So it's frustrating, because I know that there's a lot more to Connacht Rugby than a heap of blokes coming down from Leinster trying to pick up contracts. There's a lot more to what we're about and what we're doing and what we've done in the past too. So, as I said before, to me it was just an ill-informed comment. But yeah, listen, they mount, and it does build a little bit of frustration. It's something that we're very much in control of, and something that, as you said, from a squad point of view, we're saying, well, we've got to change their views, and we can only do that with our performance both on and off the field, and that's what we're intending to do this season.
Yeah, I was going to say that, is that the key to it? Winning matches, style of play. Is it winning trophies? Is it a combination of all those factors, you think, to change the perception of Connacht? And to be fair, you must feel like you have done some of that since your time here as well.
Well, we talk about three things that we think can change other people's belief in how they look at us, and one is to be a winner. So yeah, that certainly helps, but it's not just a winner on the scoreboard. You've got to be a winner in other things too, in the way you conduct yourself and the way the way you play the game. So you might not win every performance, but or every game, but if you're playing a style that empties your tank and you show that you really care about it, then that in my mind, that's a winner. We talk about being proud of who we're working for and who we're representing. We're representing all those players from, the club started 1885, 136 years ago. So there's a lot of people going before us. There's a lot of people going to come after us. There's a lot of people within this building that aren't involved with the pro rugby team that make our lives happen. So we're really proud of that. We're proud of who we represent in terms of our own wives, our families. And then the last thing, we attempt to be respectful ourselves. So hopefully you never hear me make a comment like that. I wouldn't do that because I just feel it's disrespectful. So we talk about being respectful and treating people the way you want to be treated. So if we can do those three things, be winners, be proud, be respectful, I think we will gain the respect that I think we deserve, but it's up to us to do that.
Absolutely. Could I just ask you, you've mentioned kind of the impact that Cully has made, and you touched on Mossy there as well. How happy have you been with the way they've slotted in? Obviously it's a big step up from the academy and the work they were doing. You must be really pleased with the impact that it looks like they're having already. Yeah,
I think the whole coaching group has been outstanding. And this is again where you can now talk about it because we finally had a win. If you don't have the win, then no one sees it. No one sees the hard work that's gone in. But from Pete Wilkins as our senior coach, he's led the program really, really well from the start of the pre-season. Cully's come in and put his own stamp on the defence, and you saw an element of that on Friday night. Mossy's been working really hard with our skill set, and again, you saw an element of that on Friday night. And then we've got Deerbolt who's come in with our forward pack and making his own mark on that, and you saw that on Friday night. So, Friday night to me, one of the most pleasing things is we had a coach's room that had smiles on their faces, which I can tell you wasn't the case the 3 weeks previous, because they're young coaches and everyone's looking for a win and looking for confirmation and affirmation that what you're doing is right. So that it was really important for us as a full squad, really important for players, but also really important for our coaching group that win happened, and it did. So onwards and upwards from here.
Cheers, Andy. Best of luck the weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Andy. Lindy here. How are you?
Good, thanks, Lindy.
Just very quickly on the Titi Tuamaga, is he? I know that he has had an injury. Is he recovered from that?
Yeah, he's good to go, Lindy.
And what sort of injury was it? Sorry.
I think he had a lower limb injury, but yeah, he's fine. We got a medical assessment on him. He's good to go. Okay, that's great. And just a quick question on the crowd from last weekend. Obviously, your first match back in 18 months or so with the crowd. How did that? Do you think that that affected the players? And was it ever discussed about the fact of the crowd being back there? We did talk about the fact that we had some players in that change room, the likes of a Geordie Duggan and certainly Abraham Papali'i, who hadn't played in front of his wife. He's been here for over 18 months now, about 14 months, but he'd never played in front of his wife, Amanda. She was going to be in the crowd. Geordie had never played in front of a big crowd. Other players as well hadn't played in front of crowds because we haven't had them since those fellas have either come to Connacht or signed professional contracts. So we mentioned that and basically just said, just enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that your family and friends and the Connacht faithful are out there supporting you tonight. But we didn't talk about it beyond that. But the sense of energy that they got from that, you could see it. It definitely helps when a referee hears a crowd jeer or ooh or ah or whatever they're doing. That definitely has an effect. Definitely has an effect on the players as well. But yeah, I think the most important thing is to put out that performance and then see the delight that was on the fans' faces. I think that gave enormous energy to everybody.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Andy.
Hi. Sorry, Kieran, go ahead.
Sorry, Mick. I just want to ask about Tom Farrell. He's kind of really hit the ground running since coming back from injury. Just what are you hoping to see from him this season, and what are the points of difference, I guess, he brings in that kind of battle for the centre spots?
Yeah, I thought the two Toms were good, but Tommy Faz in particular. I just think his ability to break tackles, I think he's fantastic. We talk about carrying square. He carries square. He takes you upfield. He runs true north pretty much, but he's got footwork with it and power with it. And then his ability to get rid of the ball through contact is very good. So that's always been a strength of Tom's, and it's great to see him back doing that. I think the other thing that's really been added to his game is his defensive reads and his ability to shut down defence in that 13 channel. That's a tough channel to defend in, but he's got his timing right, he's got his ball awareness right, and he's getting his body in front, which is making a big difference for him.
And you mentioned Tom Daly as well. I mean, there's obviously a good understanding there between the two Toms. They go back a long way together, and they do seem to kind of complement each other's game very well.
Yeah, they're two really big men. I mean, both boys will be over 100 kilos. They're big, powerful men. And as you say, they do complement each other. So, Tom Daly, he probably adds a longer kicking game to his bow. Tommy Faz has a shorter kicking game. But both have a really good skill set in attack and in defence. So, we've got an embarrassment of riches there in the centres. If you think about, Sammy Allen sitting on the bench behind them, and you've got Bundy Arkey yet to come back, and then you've got the likes of young Shane Bolt and Peter Robb. We've got some very good centres wearing the green jersey, which is pleasing for us.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, man.
Andy, hi. Mick Scully here. How are you?
Good, mate.
Just wondering, were you aware of Jake White's comments before the game? Was that mentioned in the dressing room at all?
No. I only found out about it post, but so no, we certainly didn't get any energy out of it for that game. But as I said, we'll park that one, use it again,
Okay.
possibly.
Sure. And I mean, you said there were ill-informed comments, but like he has kind of caused controversy in the past. Is it surprising that he when you say ill-informed, what's surprising?
I honestly don't follow what Jake says, so I don't really know what other comments he's used. And what
I know, like he annoyed Eddie O'Sullivan when he was Ireland coach about 7 years ago.
Yeah, I'll let Eddie talk about that one. All I know is when I heard it, I just thought, that's just a silly comment. It is, as I said, it's ill-informed. So Jake's a good man. Like, I know Jake, and I'm sure he's probably wishing he'd never said it, but at the same time he did. So it's a bit like the spent arrow. You can't get it back, unfortunately.
Sure. Thank you. Okay.